We agree to abide by certain rules in order to exist in society, right? It's like saying, this is supposed to be a free country, but I'm not allowed to murder without consequences. What the hell is up with that? Where's my freedom? Hello lovely people, my name is Emma. Welcome back to my channel, welcome if you are new. Being a person with access to the internet, I'm pretty sure you're aware by now that Musk's Twitter deal has finally gone through. Elon Musk owns Twitter, and he's got big plans. Now, the first thing I'll note is that nothing has changed yet technically with the platform. It's very important to remember that the policies didn't get scrapped overnight. It seemed like a lot of his fans, the muskrats, I like to call them, a lot of his fans seemed to sort of think that overnight everything would change. You know, Donald Trump was going to be back on the platform and you'd be able to say, well, we'll get into that bit shortly. But no, it doesn't just change overnight. Policy shift takes a while. I mention this because I think it's worth noting, given what we're going to talk about today, that you can still report hate speech, you can report breaking terms of service, hate-filled conduct. You can still report that. It might take longer than usual to go through for a couple of reasons, which we will talk about, but hate speech is still banned on Twitter. You should still be reporting it. And even if you want to, you shouldn't still be doing it because it is banned. And also, that's just not very nice. What's wrong with you? That being said, within moments of Musk acquiring Twitter, the platform was flooded with hate speech, particularly racism. Mostly racism, a lot of anti-Semitism. See, to me, this all seems kind of obvious and self-explanatory, but whenever I've seen somebody report on the huge spike in racist content following Musk's acquisition of Twitter, I've seen other people, muskrats. One time I said Elon Musk is embarrassing on Twitter. That's all I said. Dear God, the comments I received. Somebody kept tweeting me like a mug to buy that had Elon Musk's face on it and said like greatest man in the world. And they kept sending that to me and couldn't see how embarrassing they were being. If they weren't aggressively hateful as well, it would be quite funny. So yes, a lot of reporters have been commenting on the fact that there was this spike in racism on Twitter. The comments, whenever that is shared on Twitter, are full of people saying everything from it's fake news to free speech equals hate speech, which is not. Why are people? And then whenever the reporter is a woman or non-binary or trans, the comments are then full of people trying to delegitimize them for their gender. It is no surprise that the same hate-mongers that are excited that they can be racist and anti-Semitic again are also misogynistic and transphobic. It's the same umbrella of, it's Nazis. It's basically Nazis. I am of the surprisingly controversial opinion that Nazis should be banned from social media platforms and punched where possible. It's astounding to me that in 2022 that is a controversial opinion. Punch Nazis. The fact that people are saying that made me want to talk about this in general, but also made me want to, verify for the casual onlooker that no, it is not fake news. Elon Musk is inspiring a generation of hate speech. And this is not exclusive to social media. It is spilling into and combines with real life. I'll leave this Washington Post article down below. I'll leave everything I think is relevant down below so you can read about it yourself. This is just some of the kind of content that came up straight away. This is a quote. Elon now controls Twitter. Unleash the racial slurs. A K-word and N-word, said one account using slurs for Jews and black people. I can freely express how much I hate N-words now. Thank you, Elon, another said. Somebody posted a single word tweet that was just a racial slur, and that got liked 5,000 times and retweeted 700 times. That particular tweet stayed online for 16 hours, and we'll talk about why that might be in a minute. One account created this month included a Nazi swastika as its profile picture, and retweeted quotes from Musk alongside anti-Semitic memes. Another tweet showing a video montage glorifying Nazi Germany with the comment, "I hear that there have been some changes around here," was liked more than 400 times. There's a group that analyses social media messages called the Network Contagion Research Institute. They said that use of the N-word on Twitter spiked nearly 500% in the 12 hours after the deal was finalised. It is not fake news. I will accept that yes, some people, particularly on the internet, like to be trolls just to be trolls. I would argue that if you think it's funny to use racial slurs just for the sake of provoking people, you're still a fucking racist. But I appreciate that they might not be hardcore into the Nazi lifestyle, all of them. The problem is even the people who are joking, haha, I'm just a joke racist. What world are we living in? Even the people who are joking are enabling actual hate mongers, because the people who have real, serious racial hatred or just Nazi-style views, people who hate people of colour and women and trans people, etc., again, Nazis, those people are seeing it become popularised to be racist, to use slurs. They're seeing people spread this far and wide, and they are feeling vindicated and empowered. And Elon Musk is a huge part in empowering those people. I've also seen, you know, some muskrats out there being like, I love free speech and I'm excited and I never use the N-word. But you've got to acknowledge the amount of people that do, that this change you're excited for, are prompting and encouraging, right? It's okay to have a Tesla that you really like and be jazzed about that. It's okay to think that investing in PayPal was a good business choice. Whatever. We don't give a fuck about people who have been lured into thinking he's a great businessman. A la Trump. Remember how Trump got elected? I don't give a shit if you think Tesla is the best company in the world and Elon Musk is the hero that we need. You can enjoy the products that he makes, you can be pro-free speech, whatever your idea of free speech is, whilst acknowledging that Elon Musk absolutely enables racism and hate speech in general. You've just gotta. By Friday afternoon, misogynistic and anti-LGBTQ messages had become increasingly prominent. Some of the Twitter influx was organised on other platforms, including 4chan and the pro-Trump forum The Donald. NCRI's lead intelligence analyst Alex Goldenberg pointed out that the swarm of organised racial slurs, etc. was intended to make as big a mess as possible for Twitter's new management. It's about testing the limits of moderation. So now, let's talk about Elon's plans for the outfit. This was reported on Twitter about 12 hours ago. A wide swath of Twitter's trust and safety team had access to content moderation/enforcement tools frozen last week. Usually hundreds of people on the team could remove posts with misinformation, hate speech, etc. It's now down to 15 people. Could be a tech error that is swiftly fixed. Could be part of Elon Musk's big changes in moderation that he has been talking about on Twitter. So one thing Musk has talked about doing is creating his ideas are so inherently contradictory. He's talked about creating a moderation council, like a council of the wise of moderation oversight. I can see this being very problematic for somebody like Musk. He promised that the council would have widely diverse viewpoints, but gave absolutely no more information, which makes me think he's not thought about it beyond this at this stage, honestly. Paul Barrett, the deputy director of New York University's Center for Business and Human Rights, said that a council under Musk would face even more skepticism because of Musk's notoriously erratic and imperious personality, which is basically what I was thinking. To make an advisory body work, he says, he would have to give it some degree of independence and make it very transparent. Ergo, to make an advisory board work, he wouldn't be able to be in control of it. He wouldn't be able to completely dominate it. It would be down to the council to make those choices, and that doesn't seem very Musk. He also didn't meet with Twitter employees. He hasn't yet announced any layoffs, which is great because he was reported talking to investors about potentially laying off something like 75% of the company. On Sunday, somebody asked him on Twitter what he thought the most messed up thing, that's the that's the question they asked, was at the company, and Musk said there seemed to be 10 people managing for every one person coding, which makes me think, and he likes tech companies, so, you know, I guess coding, whatever that means, is at the forefront of his mind. But that makes me think he might not really understand how Twitter works or how it's working. And that makes me incredibly worried for the platform, but also for the staff, if he thinks that at the moment there's like 10 times too many staff members. Because you just know that there aren't enough staff at Twitter. There just won't be. There's no way. Let's talk about this whole free speech thing then. Seeing people say things like hate speech equals free speech and getting so excited to use slurs. People who hear free speech and their immediate reaction is to use racial slurs and hate speech. What are those priorities? The priorities of these people belie what they actually think. Some people probably genuinely see Elon Musk as, a leader of free speech, and they really consider Twitter to be taken over by the left, by left-wing media, left-wing bias. I hear this all the time, despite all of the right-wing hatred that I see on there every day. But the majority of those people, I would postulate the majority of those people talking about free speech, free speech, free speech, are purely using that notion of free speech to be hateful, to spread hateful conduct. And that's their first thought. They're like, yes, I can say this slur about Jewish people now. And that's fucked up. To fight for free speech is to fight for your right to protest, is to fight for, yes, unbiased news outlets. If your free speech activism is centered around being able to be openly racist, then those people don't give a shit about free speech. It's about being able to be hateful with no consequences. That's what it's about. And especially in the US, and a reminder that 75% of Twitter's user base is not in the US, but a lot of this conversation is coming from there. Especially in the US, certain groups of people regard free speech as a God-given right. And yet you don't have a God-given right to freedom to do anything. We live in a society I have to cheer myself up somehow, okay? You've got to laugh or you go crazy. We agree to abide by certain rules in order to exist in society, right? It's like saying, this is supposed to be a free country, but I'm not allowed to murder without consequences. What the hell is up with that? Where's my freedom? Likewise, spreading hate speech, being hateful, taking hateful actions should have consequences because that rhetoric does put people in danger. And like I said earlier, this is not just a kooky internet thing. The fact that it's bigger and bolder on the internet, however many of those people are serious or joking, they're emboldening actual hateful violence. LGBT hate is up. Anti-Semitism is through the roof right now. Like, these things persist in real life. After fucking Kanye West's idiotic tweet, which his good friend Elon Musk says was a little naughty. I think he understands what he did wrong. If you still like Elon Musk after his response to the fucking Kanye tweet, if you're not familiar with the Kanye tweet, it was very anti-Semitic. People were laughing at it because he said DEFCON 3 instead of DEFCON and doesn't understand the lower the number, the more serious it is. Whatever. We already knew Kanye was an idiot. The fact that he's a serious anti-Semite is a bit more what we should be worrying about. There were people in real life hanging signs over, like, freeways saying Kanye was right about the Jews. This shit is real life. Twitter doesn't exist in a vacuum. It is serious. People are going to get hurt. People are being hurt. What does that mean in terms of Twitter as a platform and using Twitter? My prediction, because I think this could go one of several ways, my money would be on very little changing for quite a long time. Elon Musk relies on Twitter being advertiser-friendly if he wants to make even his money back, if he wants to break even on this deal. One idea that Elon has had. He's floating the idea of a $20, £17.50 or something in real money, $20 per month fee to get a verification tick on Twitter, which is fucking stupid. Here's the thing. Everybody with a working brain understands that being a well-known person, being a prominent figure, does not equal being wealthy. And so normal people, and there was a poll put out on Twitter and overwhelmingly the majority of people said they wouldn't pay for it. Normal people will not pay for it. The kind of people that will pay for it are, frankly, pathetic hate-mongers who want to look special on their favourite Elon Musk's platform. If this subscription things go ahead, I fully predict the blue tick will just become a signifier for Nazis and racists and people spreading hate. Internet trolls of various kinds. The whole purpose of the blue tick was just supposed to be so that celebrities wouldn't have impersonator accounts. You know, that's what it is. It's so that you couldn't go on Twitter and pretend to be Kanye West or whatever. According to The Guardian, even if every extant verified user paid the fee, the annual income would be less than a tenth of the estimated $1 billion in interest payments due on Musk's loans to buy the site. This is what I'm saying when I think very little will change, at least in the immediate future, because Musk has to maintain Twitter as an ad-friendly site to make it profitable. This is kind of an interesting position for Musk, because if he doesn't make changes to the way Twitter is modified, his fan base will be very unhappy. If they don't see their fave right-wing pundits reinstated on Twitter, if they're still getting banned for their hate speech, they are not going to be very pleased. Something I think could happen, I don't want to be too conspiratorial about it, but something I think could happen is if Musk does reduce the amount of staff responsible for moderating Twitter, it could almost function as like a shadowy way of changing Twitter without changing the terms of service. So the terms of service would still be advertiser friendly, but maybe it would take so long for hate speech to be taken down that it almost would be insignificant, or that hate speech is, you know, maybe it would become like Facebook, is what I'm saying, where you can flag, hey, this is a fake racist account every other day, and Facebook will come back to you and say, this doesn't break our terms of service. It could become like that quite easily, and I think that could be a snaky way around making Twitter advertiser friendly. But I don't know, it would be pretty transparent, I think, if that happened. Especially if that happened as a result of him laying off staff in that particular area. Should we still be using Twitter? I don't know. It's kind of up to you. Nothing has really changed yet, apart from this obvious uptick in hate speech, but Twitter was full of the hate anyway, and at least it can still be moderated. The problem we have with any of these huge social media sites is that as soon as a whole lot of us start using it, we kind of can't stop. It's like Facebook. Everyone I know who has Facebook fucking hates Facebook. But it's the only way you can talk to your aunt. It's where your old school friends make reunion events. And it's the same on Twitter. Because it's such a big social media platform, companies and employment-related things all use that platform. I know Twitter is certainly the way I talk to most other content creators. Casting calls go out on Twitter, especially in the voice acting community. A huge amount of casting calls are done through Twitter, and a lot of people I know just feel like they can't leave because their business interests are too tied into this platform. We are so connected to social media for our personal and our business lives that it just feels like unless an alternative builds up in the meantime, we can't leave this platform. I'd be interested to see how many people have sort of left and removed their accounts over the next couple of weeks or so, depending on the changes that are made, depending on what happens with Musk and his council, etc. For me, I certainly feel, it's one of the platforms I share my content, I share my streams, I advertise my streams. It's where I talk to other creators. It's where I see casting calls. I am just too reliant on Twitter now to drop it. And I know a lot of people are in the same boat. I don't really have a piece of advice or a solution here. I'm just going to say again, the terms of service still haven't changed, so keep reporting hate speech. At least if we keep an eye on it and keep reporting it, and organizations keep monitoring it, at least we can be presented face to face with the statistics of increased slurs and things, so that whenever people are like, that's fake news, whatever, haha, woke, at least we can say, it's real. Why are you protecting the Nazis? There's a non-binary activist I follow who shared one of the articles talking about this uptick in racial slurs, and half the comments were like, well, pronouns. They're just like, this is a great opportunity to harass someone about their gender, or the fact that they're woke. I'd love to take a second to remind everyone that the definition of woke is alert to injustice in society, especially racism. Just remember that anytime you see somebody criticizing, the woke media, or calls you out for being too woke, just remember what they're priorities are. I'm pretty sure that the people who complain that I have pronouns in my bio on Twitter are the same people who comment stuff like, "Are you a girl or a boy? I need to know your gender," all over all of my social medias. I'm just trying to help you guys. Anyway, Twitter. It's more racist and hate-filled than ever. It can still be fought. It can still be moderated. I don't expect anything to massively change for quite a while, because Musk has to make money on this site somehow, and I don't think enough people are going to pay to have a blue tick to make that substantial enough, even to cover, like I said earlier, the interest payments on the loans he took out to acquire Twitter. I think he's got to keep it advertiser friendly if he's going to do anything. He probably will expand into more subscription-based stuff. He might fire a bunch of staff. Let's just keep an eye on it. But chiefly, let's not pretend that Twitter, other social networking sites, and real life haven't seen a massive uptick in hate speech and hate-fueled violence lately. To deny that is to deny reality. At the point where you're denying reality to pursue your goals are massively hateful. Like, these aren't people to be reasoned with, but they are people that must be dealt with. That's my ramble about Twitter. I just had to get it out. We'll talk about something more fun at the weekend, I promise. Thanks very much for listening. Leave your predictions in the comments below. What do you think Musk will do next? What do you see as the future of Twitter? Before we go, I would like to give a big shout out to my giant chickens over on Patreon. Have yourselves a very lovely week, and I will see you really soon.